Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about how we can add and subtract mixed numbers. So we're going to start here. We have two examples that we're going to do. Number one, we have negative 1 3/4 minus negative 8 1/3 minus negative 4 1/4. So kind of two steps to begin this. Number one, we always want to write a subtraction problem as an addition problem, right? So we can add the opposite. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to leave negative 1 3/4, but now I'm going to add positive 8 1/3. So I changed addition and then also changed negative 8 1/3 to a positive 8 1/3. And then we're going to add 4 1/4. Now I notice that I have a denominator of a 4 and a denominator of 4. So I'm going to use the commutative property. I'm going to switch those around. So now I have negative 1 3/4 plus 4 1/4 plus 8 1/3. So I'm going to focus on adding these two numbers together, negative 1 3/4 and 4 1/4. Now I notice that I have an addition problem, but their signs are different. So we can subtract the absolute values, and then we can go ahead and use the sign of the larger number, okay? So I'm going to write this as 4 1/4 minus 1 3/4. And we know that 4 1/4 was the larger of those two numbers, absolute value-wise, so our answer here will be positive. So now I can see, okay, 4 minus 1. If I just think 4 minus 1, well, let's actually do this. And let's think about 4 1/4 minus 1. Well, that would just become 3 1/4, right? So now we have 3 1/4, and now we just have 3/4 that we need to subtract. Well, what if we take one of those 3/4, so 1/4, and we subtract it? So now we would have a 3 here, and now this would be minus 2/4. Well, minus 2/4, 2/4 we could rewrite as 1/2. So this is like 3 minus 1/2, and that would be 2 1/2, okay? So now we have 2 1/2, but remember we have still an 8 1/3. So let's add 8 1/3, and now we can add these two together. Well, we have 2 plus 8, so we can scroll down a little bit. So that would give us a 10, right? And now we have 1/2 plus 1/3. Well, 1/2 and 1/3, those don't have the same denominator, right? So what if we could create a common denominator? Let's say we have 1/2 and 1/3. How about a denominator of a 6, right? Well, 1/2, so what over 6 would be half? Well, that would be 3, right? So 3/6. And then 1/3, so what over 6 would be 1/3? Well, that would be 2 over 6. And now we can add those two together. So 3/6 plus 2/6 would be 5/6. So our answer here would be 10 5/6. Okay? So that would be our answer to number 1. All right, let's take a look at number 2. So number 2, we have 2 3/8 minus 4 1/2 plus 3 1/8 minus negative 1 1/2. So, or excuse me, negative half. So let's do the same thing and write it as an addition problem. So we would have 2 3/8 plus negative 4 1/2 plus negative, or excuse me, this is already plus. So plus 3 1/8, and then plus positive 1/2, okay? All right, so same thing, let's group our terms that have an 8 as denominator next to each other, commutative property, and also denominator of 2. So I'm gonna do 2 3/8 plus 3 1/8 plus negative 4 1/2 plus 1/2. And now we're gonna add these two together like this, and then we can add the sums at the very end to get our final answer. So 2 3/8 plus 3 1/8, so 2 plus 3 would be 5. 3/8 plus 1/8 would be 4/8, and that would be 1/2. So that would be 5 1/2. Now we have negative 4 1/2 plus 1 1/2. Well, we're adding, but our signs are different. So let's subtract, and we can keep the sign of the larger number. So let's do 4 1/2 minus 1/2. Well, that would just be 4. And our larger number here was negative. And what I mean by larger number is the larger absolute value was negative. So this would be negative 4. Okay. So now we have 5 1/2 plus negative 4. And once again, we could write this as a subtraction because we have different signs. So this would be like 5 1/2 minus 4. And that's going to leave us with 1 1/2, because if we take 5 minus 4, that would be 1, but we had 5 1/2, right? So we still have 1 1/2. And when we did the subtraction there, 5.5 would have been our larger absolute value, and that was a positive number initially, so our final answer would be 1.5. And that is how you can add and subtract mixed numbers.